What's up guys, Schmitty here, welcome back to another video, and today we have some Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. So yesterday, the new Black Ops 4 operation started, Operation Spectre Rising, but due to being on the Xbox One, as I'm sure you guys are well aware, that is where I play Call of Duty at, and so I don't get to experience really any of that content until next week. So until then, today I want to talk about Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and just offer my apologies to this game. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, of course, came out in 2016 and was met with a bunch of immediate hate from pretty much everybody in the Call of Duty community. Of course, there were ones that were more optimistic. I, of course, tried to stay on the optimistic side myself because it's Call of Duty. Call of Duty is what I play, and I want the game to be great each and every year. But Infinite Warfare was just met with a ton of hate. And, you know, later on, as I started to play the game and the beta and the full game after the game was out, I just didn't really invest a lot of time into the game. I put about a couple weeks into it, and then it was back to Black Ops 3 for a variety of different reasons. Of course, the most obvious being I just wasn't really enjoying Infinite Warfare when I played it. And on top of that, a bunch of my friends really weren't enjoying it either, so we all just kind of at once moved back to Black Ops 3 and just continued playing that for the second year. Overall, I just never really felt incentivized to play Infinite Warfare. Never had any motivation to play it for whatever reason. And just last week, I decided to go back and play the game for the first time in quite a while. And I just need to offer my apologies to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Because going back and playing this game, I've talked about before, but I can just 100% settle on this now. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare did not deserve the hate that it got. Like I said, I've gone back and talked about this multiple times since we've gotten past Infinite Warfare. And a lot of times I just attribute this to the fact of a lot of people just seem to think the previous Call of Duty is better once it's no longer the current game. It's typically what happens pretty often. But after going back to Infinite Warfare, and totally honest, like, spoiler alert here, I enjoyed the hell out of it. After going back and doing that, I feel like my original hypothesis with this game, back when it was the current COD, I made a video about this, that the game just came out at the complete wrong time. And I feel like Infinity Ward, I've talked about this a few times as well, but I feel like Infinity Ward has just gotten screwed over as far as timing goes with their last two games. Call of Duty Ghosts came out in the time where everything was just, you know, as the community called it, copy and paste. Nothing was really changing, and then Call of Duty Ghosts just seemed to be the most bland out of all of them. And then Infinite Warfare comes out, following Advanced Warfare, following Black Ops 3, to where we have those futuristic advanced movement titles. Players are starting to get tired of it. They're asking for something different, to go back to some boots-on-the-ground gameplay, or just give something just to shake it up for a little bit. And on comes Infinite Warfare, and it's the most futuristic of all of them. It looks the most wild and less OG Call of Duty-like compared to either the other advanced movement titles, and was immediately met with a ton of hate from the community, and to a point, understandably so. I get it that it wasn't what the community wanted, and it's not really what I wanted either. I definitely wanted a bit of a shake-up as well. But going back and playing, like, I had to try and remind myself what I hated so much about this game. Because truthfully, I don't remember. I know one of the things that I used to complain about a lot was the time to kill. I felt it was too fast. Going from Black Ops 4 to Infinite Warfare, which, going to any other Call of Duty besides Black Ops 4, the time to kill is going to feel faster. Even with that change from going from a high time to kill game like Black Ops 4 all the way to Infinite Warfare, the time to kill still felt slower than what I remembered on Infinite Warfare. The time to kill is not really that fast in Infinite Warfare, at least to what I remembered it. I also really didn't like the crazy, overdone, hectic movement style of Infinite Warfare. It just seemed like there was a lot more wall running to jumping, and it just seemed like nobody was ever on the ground when I played Infinite Warfare. At least that's what I remember. And even after coming from playing boots on the ground from Black Ops 4, I had absolutely no struggle with the advanced movement in Infinite Warfare, both using it for myself and going against it from other players. It didn't feel that weird to me. And you guys will see that from these gameplays. I mean, it looks like I've just been playing Infinite Warfare forever, ever since it came out. That I'm used to the advanced movement, and that I'm used to all the crazy stuff in Infinite Warfare, and I'm not really. But everything just felt so good coming back to the game, the flow of the game, how smooth the game was, the nice crisp hit detection that Infinity Ward offers all the time. Everything felt really good. I had a lot of fun using a variety of the different guns, which I also remember something that I complained about pretty often. I remember at one point in Infinite Warfare, I would not use the laser guns because it just, I hated it. I hated the idea of it, and it pissed me off, I guess, that it was in Call of Duty for whatever reason. And I go back and I'm having fun using all of the guns in Infinite Warfare, all the different weapon variants, all the different energy, ballistic type weapons. I'm having an absolute blast playing this game on all the different maps, which, by the way, are awesome, and the DLC maps are a lot of fun as well. I came away off of Infinite Warfare after playing it for quite a bit of time, not just a 1 to 2 hour stint, like a pretty good amount of hours put into Infinite Warfare. And I really didn't have any complaints. I didn't think the game was perfect. I still, I'm not in love with advanced movement. I still, it's fun. But I feel like at the core of it, the best overall play style is boots on the ground. I feel like that fits Call of Duty the best. I have fun with advanced movement. It's not something that ruins the game for me. It's just, I think if I was to have a preference, it would be boots on the ground. I'm still not a big specialist person, and there's a couple in Infinite Warfare that still drive me nuts. So the phase shift and the rewind, those ones are just ridiculous to me. But other than that, none of those really upset me. Like I said, I had a ton of fun using the guns, ton of fun traversing the maps, and just playing the game overall in general just felt really good to me. The only negative I had coming off of playing the game was it just took a while to find lobbies, but it's a couple-year-old Call of Duty and one that was never really that popular, so I guess it's to be expected. But man, I had so much fun playing Infinite Warfare, and like I said, I put a decent amount of hours into it. Typically when I go back to a Call of Duty and I kind of revisit it and talk about it in a video on the channel of revisiting a Call of Duty, it's for a pretty short amount of time, like an hour or two, or usually less than that, which pretty much any game that you kind of experience fresh right out the gate is going to be a lot of fun. But then as you continue playing it, especially if it's a game you revisit, you start to find the flaws in it. After a while, that kind of like revisited honeymoon stage goes away, but I found myself continuing to want to play Infinite Warfare. I just got this itch all of a sudden out of nowhere, and then next thing I know, I just could not stop playing it. It was like it was the new Call of Duty. And that could be attributed to, one big reason that, I didn't play it a lot back when it was out. So you could say maybe it feels kind of new to me, which may be right, but like I said, I'd put time into the game before and just had no desire to play it. And I feel like overall it just proves my original hypothesis with the game is that it just came out at the wrong time. I feel like, at the time when I first played Infinite Warfare, it just felt similar enough to Black Ops 3. I know some people get upset when you compare the games and say they're similar, and you have the people that say they aren't similar at all, but it felt similar enough to me to Black Ops 3 to where I just didn't feel like playing it, and I just overall liked Black Ops 3 better as a game, and I still do, but I really had a great time going back and playing Infinite Warfare, and I'm more than likely going to continue to do so because it's a lot of fun, and I would have liked to see what would happen with this game if it was released in a different time. Maybe instead of Infinite Warfare, we got Modern Warfare 4 that year, and then we get some, some classic boots on the ground games. Of course, now with Black Ops 4, it's been kind of that, midway, near future hybrid game. But, maybe a few years down the line, we get Infinite Warfare and then see what happens with it. I know for me, it would have made it a lot more enjoyable, I feel like. Just having all of those advanced movement games compiled at once, I feel like I just got burnt out of the experience and just wanted some fresh Call of Duty, and now going back to fresh Call of Duty, the advanced movement, all the stuff in Infinite Warfare feels refreshing and it feels fun. And Infinite Warfare did a lot of great things as well. I have given them props from the beginning. Even when I didn't like Infinite Warfare, I gave them props from the beginning on how they did their DLC weapons. You get them free right away if you have the Season Pass. You don't have to do a thing. You turn on the game when they come out and you have them. Or if you don't have the Season Pass, you complete a fairly simple challenge to be able to get them as well. The weapon variants in the game were another thing that I wasn't a fan of, but I found myself in this game not really finding them to be too big of a deal. I still feel like they're a little confusing, and there's a lot of them, and it's kind of hard sometimes to figure out, like, maybe if that gun had an advantage is the reason you died and things like that, but overall, they all had their positives and their negatives, and overall, I feel like it made it a fun experience. I mean, you could use a gun forever. Say you use the base gun, got like, a few thousand kills with it and just kind of got bored of it. But if you got a new variant that did something a little bit different, it just kind of refreshed the experience. The game had a lot of dope camos as well. Of course, I had a ton of challenges and contracts to always complete, which were always fun and always entice people to continue to play the game. It's just been a really good, refreshing experience going back to Infinite Warfare, and I feel really bad, like, how much I just did not like this game and how much I've said I don't like this game. And I wish it would have come out at a different time so I would have had the motivation and had the desire to want to play it more, because overall at the time I just didn't. But going back, I mean, like I said, it has just been an absolutely super fun experience for me. And it's pretty much been the thing that's been scratching my multiplayer itch. I just haven't played that much Black Ops 4 multiplayer. It's kind of the same thing to where I don't dislike the game or the gameplay of it at all. I just don't feel enticed or feel motivated to play it, and I enjoy the hell out of Blackout, so, and that only adds on to the fact of me wanting to play that instead of the multiplayer. But for the most part, I've been playing Blackout with friends, which I've said 1,000 times I have a ton of fun doing whenever we have a party, but I've been just hanging around solo and kind of want to scratch that Call of Duty itch. Infinite Warfare has kind of been my thing as of recently. I just want to say, I'm sorry, Infinite Warfare. I feel awful because this game did not deserve the hate that it got. It is a ton of fun. I just can't for the life of me understand why there is so much hate behind this game. Like, I get it, but I don't. I feel like a lot of it was just bandwagon hate. And if more time was put into the game and it would just be like people just accepted it for what it is without trying to nitpick it and say, well, this is an OG Call of Duty, blah, 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 I feel like more people would have enjoyed it. And I heard one thing a long time ago, back when Infinite Warfare was the current game, that I feel like still sticks. Maybe it's not meant to be a Call of Duty game, but it sure as hell is a great, great shooter. Like, honestly, if the game was entitled Call of Duty, maybe it would have been looked at as one hell of a game. I don't know, but I just wanted to jump on this video today and just offer my apologies to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I've been playing it quite a bit lately, and like I said, I've had a ton of fun, and I just feel like I missed out on a lot of parts in this game. I mean, like I said, it wasn't really much of anything I could control because I just wasn't motivated to play it, but at the same time, it's a pretty good game, and I've had a lot of fun playing it as of recently, and I plan on hopping on it more. So anyway, down below in the comments, let me know your guys' thoughts on Infinite Warfare. I feel like as time has passed, more people have been pretty supportive of Infinite Warfare, and overall, I feel like a lot more people have said that they honestly kind of enjoyed Infinite Warfare, and there's really just not as much hate behind it anymore as what there used to be. Which, like I said, is usually just attributed to the fact that once the Call of Duty game is not current anymore, it tends to get a lot more love than what it had when it was the current game, which will be the same thing with Black Ops 4. I know a lot of people talk down about Black Ops 4, but I'm sure in a couple years it'll get looked back on as a pretty great COD, and that cycle will probably continue for years to come. But anyway, like I said, let me know your thoughts down below on Infinite Warfare. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to smack the Schmidt at a like button down below. If you guys look from content, get that replace the button down below as well. If you can not see the videos, go live. Hopefully you guys all have a good one. I will see you guys on another video. So long, everybody.